Ciao ragazzi, this is Katie Portanova, and you're listening to Florence and Me. I'm a lover of stories and all things Italian, and I'm going to bring you all that in this podcast. My intention is to inspire you to step out of your comfort zone and explore life and travel the world. Join me as I tell you my story and many others about Italy and my love, Florence. Andiamo! Ciao again. It's Katie. Welcome back to Florence and Me. Today we're going to talk about Fiesole. Fiesole was the city I lived in when I was a student studying abroad back in 2002. And if you haven't listened to that episode yet about when I studied abroad, you can go back to episode number 1, where Katie and Florence meet. So Fiesole holds a piece of my heart. I lived there for 3 months in 2002, and then in 2005 I went back and I stayed there. I didn't stay there, but I did have still connections with Simone, who worked there, and Annalisa, and one of the cleaning ladies, that was just a doll. Oh my God, I'm forgetting her name. Anyway, I'll think of it in a second. Oh, she was a doll. So Fiesole has a long history. I'm going to go into some of the history because I think the history of this city, this tiny paese, is like amazing because it's so old. And I didn't know that when I came and stayed here. So I'll give you some facts. I've got my handy dandy book in front of me to give me some insights that I can remember about Fiesole. The village of Fiesole stands in the foothills of the Mugello region. And Mugello, you probably have not heard of that region. Mugello is a northern region, northern region of Florence. And if anybody follows the MotoGP, like my husband Stefano, Mugello has a famous motorcycle racetrack, which if you follow motorcycle races, you'd know that. Anyway, just so you know, Mugello also has Lago di Bilancino, which is it's a man-made lake. Yes, a man-made lake. Stefano took me there on one of our first dates to sunbathe. They have some beaches there. The water is very clear, and it's fabulous. So that's something you probably wouldn't know if you were a tourist. Lago di Bilancino. I didn't find that out until I was a resident and met my Florentine friends. So it is north of Florence, about 5 miles, and it has a substantial amount of Roman and Etruscan ruins in its walls, if you will. There are some walls you can see, not a lot. But it's a very popular and very expensive place to live. And a lot of people from Florence and other places, they go there on vacation because in the summer, Florence is an oven. Okay? In the summer, it is a freaking oven. You will know that if you live there or visited there during the months of June, July, or August, or even September. There's no air that moves through those streets. And you would know that. Anyway, if you go up to Fiesole on a really hot day, it is so breezy. Yeah, it's still hot. But because there's trees and there's like nature, you can walk through some of the pathways into the hills back there. It's gorgeous. And the views you get from up there, and that's why it's expensive too, because you can see Florence miles and miles in some of those houses. And they're small houses, but they're beautiful, and it's an expensive place to live. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that back in 2002, because back in 2002, it just turned over. I think I said this in one of my other episodes. It just changed to euro instead of lira. As currency. So our comparison of dollar to euro was almost exact, which was phenomenal. It is not now. It's about 80 cents to a euro. It's not about the same. Anyway, but back then, we didn't actually, when I was studying there, I'm going to keep going back to when I was studying there, and then until I realized, like, being a resident of Florence and then knowing Fiesole is like a ritzy place to live. Most of the people that live there now are older nonni. They're grandparents. People that have lived there all their lives. A nice little tidbit, though, and you could find this if you go down a specific street, which I don't have it on handy, but if you go up towards, when you come off of the bus in Piazza Mino, the number 7 bus, and you start going up towards, I want to say, if you're looking at the Palazzo, the main square, and you go to the right, and you keep following the road up and up and up and up, it's very, very steep. There is a house at a fork in the road that has a plaque on it, and it was, oh my God, Frank Lloyd Wright. Sorry, I was going to say Andrew Lloyd Webber. Yeah, that would have been funny. So Frank Lloyd Wright, who's the famous architect, he had a house there back in the early 1900s for his mistresses. Little known fact. I found that out when I thanks to Bob, our director, study abroad director in Florence. He had a lot of little tidbits. It was great. So so if you ever wanted to walk up that street, you'll see a plaque that says Frank Lloyd Wright lived here in Italian. Pretty sure, yeah. But anyway, so there's a lot of Roman and Etruscan ruins in Fiesole. And Fiesole has a Roman theater in its walls. And you wouldn't really know it because you have to pay to go see it. You can't really see it from the road. They have a lot of walls up, so you have to go in and see it. There's not much to see, I'll be honest, but it is a really cool place to see a concert. In the summer, they have this festival called, it's called, oh my gosh, I just lost it. Estate Fiesolana, and they hold that whole theater holds about 3,000 spectators, and they make it all look very nice. It's very ritzy. It's on the high end. And they do like orchestra, singers, all types of things, but it's really deep rooted in their culture. So it is a very popular thing that happens in the summer. There's a lot of concerts there. There is a museum next door that has all the relics and all the coins and all the things that they found when they excavated those ruins back in the late 1800s. So you can go there. I don't think I did because I was told by Bob that it wasn't worth it. But if you like that type of stuff, go to it. It's probably lovely. There's another museum that was founded by a aristocrat, Angelo Bandini, in the 19th century. He founded the Museo Bandini, and it's just a lot of religious paintings, medieval paintings. Again, another museum that I was told not to waste my money on because there wasn't really much to see. There are important things to see, but it's not a Botticelli, it's not a Michelangelo, you know what I mean? So it's, again, anywhere you go in Italy, you're going to find a museum with a lot of relics and a lot of Roman ruins, Etruscan ruins. And I talked about Etruscan ruins when I talked about Camporsevole, and I think that's going to be my next episode. I'll give a I'm gonna have to ask Valentina to come on maybe one of these podcast episodes, and she can tell us about Camporsevole, and we can talk about it and dish about it because it's fun. So the Etruscans were another group of people that settled in Italy. And there were a lot of like battles and wars and stuff that happened in Fiesole. And when the Romans and the Etruscans were then, defeated and stuff, and everything came again. I'm not a big history person with the wars and the times and the years, and I apologize if that's what you thought you were going to get today, and you're not going to get that. But so Fiesole like came about as this like very like a retreat to get away from the heat in the summer. Stefano's family, on his dad's side, I want to say, okay, because he's so many cousins and so many aunts and uncles, and I'm trying to like get them straight. So one of his cousins married into a rich family who had a house basically on one of those hills leading up to Fiesole. So it's expensive. When you go up to Fiesole, I urge you, when you go to Florence next time, is take the number 7 bus from Piazza San Marco. It's 20 minutes. It's the end of the line. You can't miss it. Go all the way up to the tippy top and you'll just look around. It's great if you love people watching and looking out the windows, because there's so many beautiful villas and there's so many beautiful churches you'll see on the way up. And I remember every time I went up to Fiesole when I was a student, I was just flabbergasted every time of all these beautiful hotels and houses and fattorie. Like, there's just so many beautiful, picturesque places that people live in. And there's no way in hell I would ever be able to afford anything like that. And the reason why these places are still thriving, guys, is people in Italy and families, and it's all about culture and passing things on. You are like your birthright. If you are a part of a family, like for example, Camporsevoli, like that has been passed down from generation to generation. This that hamlet, that villa, they have built it into like a vacation home rental. But before that, they were harvesting wine and olive oil. I mean, they still do that, but they have somebody else do it for them. But it's just the same thing with Fiesole. All those houses up there, all those villas, all those gardens and the farms, and they're all passed down from generation to generation. And that's why they're still thriving. And people still go there, and people still go to those restaurants that are part of a agriturismo or part of a fattoria. Like there's a place we went to visit, to see if Emmy wanted it for her wedding, and it was Fattoria di Maiano. And that's like, when you come up to, I kind of wish you were with me. I'm in my head, but if you come up, there's a fork in the road when you're almost to Fiesole, and you either go left or you go right. Left, you go to Fiesole. Right, you go to Maiano. And Maiano there's a lot of, I've never ventured into it as much as I did that day with my sister and my mom. So I would love to go back there, because I know there's so many other things to see on that other side of the hill. But Maiano is beautiful too. Fattoria di Maiano, there's a restaurant there, and you can stay there, and it's gorgeous. I saw a lot of the rooms. So Fattoria di Maiano, I'm shouting it out because it's fabulous. I kind of want to go there. There's like a farm, there's places to walk, there's paths, it's great. I love being in nature, so I would love to go back there. Anyway, so Fiesole. Go back to Fiesole, Katie. Fiesole. There is a beautiful Duomo di San Romolo, and San Romolo is the patron saint of Fiesole. Now, I know there's a big story of San Romolo, and I'm gonna come back on here with more news on that, history on that. But right now, I don't have a lot. I just know that there's a really big battle. I know he was killed. I'm sure it was by the Romans. I'm not sure, but that's why San Romolo is their patron saint. And how do they celebrate it? Like in Florence, their patron saint is San Giovanni, and San Giovanni is the 24th of June Every year they have the fireworks special. And I told you guys on the episode with Stefano, that's where our first kiss was. It was beautiful. It was so romantic. And in Fiesole, it is July 6th. It starts on July 5th and it ends on July 6th. And July 6th at the end, towards 9:30, 10, they start the fireworks show. And me and Stefano took me to that one year on his motorcycle. Very romantic and sexy. And it's gorgeous. They shoot the fireworks from the bell tower. And the bell tower is the one, like, you can't miss it. When you get into the piazza, it is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's very popular. So if you're ever there in July and you are there on June 5th or June 6th, it's going to be crowded in Fiesole. It is a very, very popular place to go, especially in the summer, because it's just, again, you want to be outside. There's sagre, there's fireworks. It's awesome. Yeah, so check that out if you're ever in Fiesole during the summer, July, preferably. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some of the restaurants in Fiesole. So Fiesole has changed a lot since 2002. So some of the restaurants that I know aren't exactly the same. I'll be honest. I'm going to talk about JJ Hill. JJ Hill was the pub we went to, and I don't think it changed names. I believe it was that same name. So it's just an Irish pub. And a little known fact, like, there is actually a group of Irishmen that help Italians and probably other countries in Europe create the decor and the ambiance in these Irish pubs. There's a guy, I met him. He's like freaking a millionaire. Like he's at least this is what he tells me. Who knows? But so Irish pubs are really big in Italy. And that's when I told you about Joshua Tree. Joshua Tree is not necessarily an Irish pub because they created it on their own. They have their own decor and stuff like that. But you'll see a lot of Irish pubs in Florence for sure. So JJ Hill is where I told you guys in my first episode of where I met Massi, the bartender, and he told me how to say, I would like a glass of red wine. That was my first. So that was JJ Hill, and I forgot it in my first episode. And right now I'm looking at a map because I forgot the name of it. So I will test you. Do you guys remember that sentence? I would like a glass of red wine. E vorrei un bicchiere di vino rosso. I'll say it again. Vorrei un bicchiere di vino rosso. Oh, it's so beautiful, isn't it? Oh, God, I kind of want one now, but it's only 2:00. Okay. All right. So, going down. So that's when you get off the number 7 bus, JJ Hill is right there. It's right there. And so right next to it is called Blue Bar. Now I see on TripAdvisor, it only has 2.5 stars. Actually, 1.5 stars. The reason why I think is because it's probably not that good of food, because I remember going there, and the drinks are very expensive because you get the view. And if you go to Blue Bar, BLUBAR, and you look on TripAdvisor, it looks amazing. But I'll be honest, it's probably not worth the price because either you sit there all day and you enjoy the price of your really expensive coffee and your really expensive cocktail, or you go somewhere else and then go somewhere else to just, enjoy the view for free. But it is a pretty place if you like that. Right next to that is Ristorante Villa Aurora, and Villa Aurora is a hotel, and this is the restaurant attached to it. I have never eaten here. I heard it's good. It only has 2.5 stars, so maybe not that good. I don't know. But again, you take it with a grain of salt. I look at reviews too. When me and Stefano went to Puglia, we looked at reviews and stuff. But in the end, like, it's really just how you treat people. And if they know you're a tourist and you're going to be picky and you're going to be like, they're probably going to treat you bad. But if you're just like open for whatever, and if you can tell there's like an energy, obviously, then yeah, I'm not going to go back. But you know what, guys, times are hard for them. So when you do go back, be very nice to them. Be very nice to all the Italians you run into and all the restaurants you go to, all the bars and all the cafes and all the stores you go into, because they have struggled a lot, as much as the whole world has, but they've struggled even more because they are getting no help right now. And that's another story. So, and then there's Osteria Vinandro. Okay, Vinandro actually was just Vinandro, I remember. I don't remember it being Osteria. And Osteria is like an upscale, it's in between a trattoria and a ristorante. And that's another episode in and of itself, because there's all different types of names for restaurants. Oh, there's a juicy story with this place. Okay, this is a really good place. I will definitely highly recommend it. I'm sure it has changed chefs from when I knew the chef, and then when I went back and the chef that I knew was gone, it was still amazingly good. I met a very attractive man here. His name was Francesco. I had a little fling with him. He was amazing. He was so sweet. And then he moved to, I think, Vietnam or something. He's a really amazing chef. Anyway, he was a chef here. He was awesome. Anyway, side note on my love life. But he was great. He made amazing food. This place I would recommend. Osteria Vinandro. Again, I'm looking on TripAdvisor, okay? If you guys want to follow along. So from there, you're in this huge piazza. Now you'll see the Comune. From where you look at the Rotonda, if you turn all the way around, you're going to see a really, really old looking building. It's not really pretty to look at, but it is the Comune. And right next to it is a church, and a church that is very, very simple. But my friend Bob, our director at Study Abroad, he would go to this church like every day because he was a brother. So he was very religious, but he would go to this church like maybe not every day, every Sunday. And he told me it's very simple, but it's a very beautiful church as well. Since I was a student, they have excavated right in front of the palazzo of the Comune. And you can see, there's not much to see, but I forget exactly what's there because I don't remember. I took pictures of it. But there's things that they've excavated from Roman times and Etruscan times and all that stuff. So it's there if you would like to see it in front of there. So there's the Comune. So if you go across the street, if you're looking at the Rotonda towards the bus stop, you're going to turn to your right, and your first stop is Café Déjà Vu. And now that was called something else when I was there. And it's a cafe, and it has pastries and sandwiches and stuff like that. It was called something else. I don't remember going in there, only maybe to buy a bus ticket. Next to it was, and still is, called Purseos. Purseos is the place we ate our 3-course meals every single night when I was a student. It was just called Purseos, and now it's called Purseos Fiesole. I don't know how good it is. It has really good stars there. Purseos, actually, I believe it's the same. Yes, it is, because Stefano told me this. Okay. Purseos Fiesole is the same Purseos that's right on Via Alessandro Volta, near Piazza Libertà in Florence. And it's called Purseos as well. It's the same chain, let's say. And that is supposed to be where the best Fiorentina bistecca exists. Stefano has said, his dad has told me, that's supposed to be the best. It's the most expensive as well, probably. Yes. So that's why this has really good stars. It has like 4.5 stars or 3.5 stars. So, and it's a steakhouse, which is funny because I don't remember us getting a Fiorentina there. But again, it's new owners. Anyway, delicious place. They have a back. We never got to eat there because back then I don't think they were like expanding enough, but I know there's a back patio, and I used to see people eating out there, later on, like when I was a resident and stuff. So it's a place to see. Right next to that is a gelateria, and I don't remember getting a lot of gelato from this place, but I remember it being something else. So it has 4.5 stars. Okay, I think you should go. It's probably really good. And then right on the corner, it is now called Pizzeria Buca della Fate. But when I was there, it was called Pizza Etrusca. Pizzeria Etrusca. Etrusca. I gotta say it in my dialect. And it was awesome. And I have not eaten there since it has been changed to a different owner. But it has really good numbers there, guys. I think you should try it. It's great. They have an upstairs and a no, they just have an upstairs. Downstairs is where the pizza oven is, and I think that's that's also where you pick up portavia, where you take away your pizza. Beautiful place. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love me some pizza, guys. It's great. Anyway, so let's move on. The Duomo di San Romolo. Or Cattedrale, the cathedral, is then right there on the corner after you cross the street from Etrusca. And I went in there probably once or twice. I can't remember what it looks like, but I'm sure it looks amazing. I'm sure it's gorgeous. I think you should go in. It's free. All churches are free in Fiesole. There's none that you have to pay. That's only in Florence. And the reason why you have to pay is because they need money for restoration and restoring the paintings and the frescoes and everything. So, and also because that's how Florence makes their money. You know, tourism is it. From the cathedral, there's a street called Via San Francesco. There's a street that goes up and up and up and up and up. And this is by far the place where all of us as students, and if any of you guys are listening, I'm sure you're like saying, hell fucking yeah, we would walk up this road all the time. There's so many panoramas that you could take amazing pictures. There's some shops along the way. I remember buying a purse on one of these shops. There is another restaurant called La Reggia degli Etruschi, and I ate there once when I came in 2005 with the students from St. Mary's University in Minnesota, because they changed. They don't go to Purseiros anymore. They use this restaurant, and I don't think they don't even come to Florence anymore, which is really, really sad because I don't think they have a place. I think they use just an affiliate, which is sad because our program was really small and really special. Anyway, that place was really good. I enjoyed it. It's a beautiful view of Florence, and it's going to be pricey, not going to lie, because you pay for the view, you pay for the food. I remember the people being very nice there. So yeah, I would recommend it. Keep going up the street via San Francesco, and it's mostly a pedestrian walk, but you will see cars coming up that road and going down. So you got to be careful, got to watch, especially if you're taking pictures and stuff. Get out of the middle of the road. You're going to get smashed. But they go pretty slow, so no worries. So once you get to the tippy top, oh my God, guys, it is breathtaking. On a really hot day, it is beautiful. It is by far the most beautiful view. And I can see, I'm looking at it in my mind. And Florence looks so small, and it's just so tiny. You can just hold it in the palm of your hand. You can see the Duomo. You can squeeze it with your 2 fingers. It's just beautiful. And on a clear day, you can see Piazzale Michelangelo. You can see San Miniato. It's just, it's amazing that all that beautiful, beautiful things, and I'm trying to find a better word, like just amazing collaboration of history is in that tiny little valley. And yeah, I mean, I remember sitting up here again in 2002, before cell phones. I wasn't sitting on social media. I was writing in my journal and I loved it. My scrapbooks and like all that stuff. We would sit up there for hours, all of us, and either we buy really crappy wine and we drink, and well, we take a lot of pictures. There's so many places to take pictures up here, guys. Oh my God, you have to come up here. It is a very steep walk. So if you have trouble walking, you might not make it all the way up to the top. There's places to rest if you can't make it to the top, but it's worth it. It is so worth it to get all the way to the top. At the very top, then there's a convent. There's a Franciscan monastery that has been there since 1399. and you can tell. I remember one time when I was traveling by myself after I was a student, I walked up here because it was just so nostalgia. I was reminiscing of when I was a student and like how much I've grown. And there's a wedding going on inside the church, and it was just beautiful. It's a tiny little church, San Francesco, and you got to go. It's beautiful. And if you keep going down past the church, and on my map here, it's not going to show me, but there's a path that goes all the way to the cemetery. Now, cemeteries in Italy, guys, it's like a light show. Italians really take care of the gravestones for their loved ones. And I will say that because I know that. I went to Stefano's grandparents' gravestones, mausoleum, if you will, kind of, in a town north of Florence, pretty far north. What's it called? I forget. Anyway, it's really north of Florence. I went there with his dad and his stepmom, and what they do is they clean it, and they do it every year. And his dad and his uncle, his dad's brother, they kind of take turns now going up there and cleaning and sweeping and putting fresh flowers. And it's a really beautiful thing. And they do it before All Saints Day. And that's when everybody goes to the grave sites. Everybody. And that day, if you ever happen to be on All Saints Day, which is November 1st, in Florence, and if you pass by a cemetery, it's going to be packed. And Stefano and I went to his mother's gravesite in 2017 when we went back the first time. And it was so, her graveyard, the cemetery that she's in is amazing. It's like, I mean, the way they preserve people's mausoleums and gravestones and stuff, it's just, it's breathtaking. Anyway, going back to the cemetery in Fiesole. So we would go up there, and we couldn't go inside because it's closed. It's not like ours, like where it's open all the time. Like you can just walk in and leave flowers. Like it's closed. There's gates and stuff. It's a very protected area. But looking through I have pictures. I can go back in my scrapbooks and have pictures of these. They're not very good now because it's not digital. But anyway, the candles, they have these electric candles that are on each gravestone. And again, like I said, it's a light show. We would go up there, me and CJ and Angie and Brian. We would all go up there and like just be mesmerized by it. It's a beautiful sight to see. Just how much they care for the dead and care for their loved ones. Anyway, we would walk up there all the time from the Chiesa di San Francesco to the cemetery. It's amazing. And then we'd walk back down and we'd come back around past the Teatro, the Roman Forum, the Roman theater, and then come back right into where the Etrusca was, the restaurant is, and you come back to the Rotonda. And guys, Fiesole is just, I can keep talking about Fiesole. There's just so many. I have a story. I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you this story. And I might get a little teary-eyed because it's just like, sorry. It's reminding me of my Nana. Because at this point, she's 90. She turned 90 in January. And this old woman really reminded me of her. Sorry. So when I was a student, I stayed at Villa Bonelli, and Villa Bonelli is a few blocks up from the Rotonda. And I forgot to talk about the bakery. Did they even talk about the bakery? There's no bakery here. You're not going to see it, probably. No, I can't believe it. Anyway, the bakery we would go to all the time. Oh my God, you have to go to the bakery in Fiesole. It is to die for. I forget what it's called, but it doesn't matter because you look outside when you walk up towards going north, and you're going to walk up a hill. So that's how you're going to get to Villa Bonelli. And it just says forno. outside of it. You can't miss it. And you can smell like the pastries. Oh my God. Guys, you got to go there. You got to go there. It's still amazing to this day. So when I stayed at Villa Bonelli, it's on Via Francesco Poeti. And I remember, because there's so many roads you can walk through, and just walk, because there's not a lot of cars that go through there, because there's not a lot of people with cars. They have cars, but they don't really use them that much because they walk everywhere. The co-op was right there. Again, this is an older community. Okay. So if I keep following Via Francesco Poeti, there's all these, oh my God, there's just so many amazing places to see, so many amazing houses and stuff like that. There was one night I was coming back down from looking at one of the panoramas, and I was taking pictures or something. And there was this old woman. Oh my God. She was like taking tiny little steps, and like she had these groceries, all these groceries in her hand, and she was hunched forward, but she was walking up this steep hill. And Via Francesco Poeti is not flat. Again, like I said, it's steep. And I didn't know a lot of Italian. Okay. So I was just like, I was trying to say help. Like, I don't know. I forget even what I tried to say. I'm like, I wanted to say, posso aiutarti? Like, can I help you? And I did. And she understood me. And I said, I'll take your bags. And she, oh, grazie, oh, cara. Like, and I remember her so well. Like, I got to her door and she let me in to her house. And she's like, oh, you can leave them there. Like, lascia, something like that. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, and I was just going to say, bene. And I said something ridiculous because, again, I was 22. I didn't speak any Italian. And she was, rattling off something. I don't remember exactly what she said because I didn't understand her. But I just remember thinking, I'm like, my God. She's like, I don't know how old. Probably in her 80s. And she's got these heavy bags by herself. They were heavy for her. I'm okay, they were heavy. I remember them being heavy. And she was walking up these. I'm like, oh my God, this is like my Nana. Like, if my Nana was still living in Italy, this is what she would be doing. Like, walking up this road by herself. Because she would not want any man to fucking help her. And perhaps, like, because this woman was by herself, her husband has passed. I don't know. But I just remember being so humbled by it and just being like, God, Katie, observe what's around you. Because these people are amazing. I don't know why I'm getting up, like, crying about an old woman carrying groceries, but it just reminds me of, like, a simpler time of, like, just being kind to people and just, like, wanting to help. These day and ages are just really hard, I think, for a lot of people. And I'm just imagining, like, what happened this last year. It was just really hard for everybody in the world. And yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I cry a lot on this podcast. Anyway, so that was my little story. I didn't mean it to be that emotional, but there was, I guess, again, my whole intention of this podcast is for you to step out and, like, look around and observe and be present and know that people need people. And that's why I want to give back, and I want to help and show people different parts of Florence and Fiesole and different parts of Italy that you can't reach with the huge ass tour bus. So I think I'm going to end this because I think I've showed a lot of myself today, and I hope I've given you an excuse to start planning a trip to Fiesole, because Fiesole is gorgeous, and I have more to say about Fiesole. I think you should go. I think you should go. I might come back on another episode and talk about other places to stay in Fiesole, because there are a lot of expensive places to stay, and then there definitely are going to be places that you can afford, at least for a week or so, because it's fabulous. It's another world. Yeah. So I think that was all I was going to talk about for Fiesole. So go there, enjoy it, and take the number 7 bus from Piazza San Marco and stay all the way on it, all the way to the tippy top. Enjoy the surroundings on the way up and on the way down. Get off in Piazza Minno and enjoy. Walk around, explore, get lost. Ciao, ciao, ragazzi. I am beyond grateful for you listening to my podcast right now. I am so excited to share my journey of living abroad and all my stories of Florence and Italy and all the places in between that I've visited. If this has reached you in any way and you would like to continue, please subscribe now. Also, go check out my website, trulyitaly.tours, for all my travel experiences. Ci si vede. Ciao.